Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, you've pointed us toward a pretty interesting YouTube breakdown. It's from the Aditya Lahari channel.
Yeah, some sharp football minds on there, really dissecting potential player moves. We're talking Pittsburgh Steelers, Dallas Cowboys.
Exactly. So our mission today is to, really dig into that analysis, pull out the key insights. What are these teams targeting, and maybe more importantly, why? Why could these moves matter?
Right. We've got the Steelers quarterback puzzle. Is it Aaron Rodgers? Is it this draft prospect, Jackson Dart? Lots to unpack there. And then we'll pivot to Dallas. Why might they be zeroing in on a specific wide receiver in round one? Tep McMillan. Let's jump in.
Okay, let's start in Pittsburgh. The quarterback situation, well, it's definitely got people talking.
For sure.
And the big name, obviously, Aaron Rodgers. Seems like Steelers owner Art Rooney dropped some encouraging comments.
Yeah, he did. The video highlighted that. Rooney called it a good sign, said things were headed in our direction. Even all signs are positive so far.
Wow, okay. That certainly sounds optimistic, doesn't it?
It does. It strongly suggests, real mutual interest. But the interesting part, I think, was the follow-up.
Oh, what was that?
Rooney mentioned he's willing to wait a little while longer for Rodgers to decide, but then he added, not forever.
Right, okay. Can't wait indefinitely.
Exactly. It tells you they're serious, but they're not going to be left hanging,
Yeah.
They need a plan B if Rodgers takes too long or goes elsewhere.
Makes sense. You can't put all your eggs in that one basket, especially with the draft and free agency moving along.
Precisely.
And that kind of leads us nicely into the potential draft option, Jackson Dart. The video's analysis had the Steelers maybe grabbing him at pick 21.
Yeah, Dart. What did the experts in the video actually say about him? Because he's a bit polarizing.
He really is. The main analyst in the video,
Yeah.
surprisingly high on him, thinks he has top 10 talent potential.
Top 10? Wow. That's bold.
Yeah. He showed some specific plays, like one against Florida. Dart just beautifully manipulated a quarters defense. Corner route completion.
Okay, break that down. What happened?
So back in motion.
Yeah.
Defense shows quarters. They run a post route to take the corner away, right? Yeah. Then the receiver runs the corner route underneath. Dart reads the flat defender, uses subtle eye fakes to draw him in.
Nice.
And then delivers the ball early, accurately. The analyst literally called it #1 pick of the draft type stuff. That's the ceiling they see.
Okay, that's impressive. That's the kind of anticipation and manipulation you want. But there's always a but, isn't there?
Always. Draft evils never just highlights. The video made sure to show the other side, too. Concerns.
Right. What were they?
Same game, actually.
Yeah.
Late, close score. Dart throws a really ill-advised pick.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. Had good protection. Apparently had an open crossing route. But he forces it deep into coverage. Like 4 defenders around the target.
Oof. That's not good.
The analyst called the decision-making horrible.
Yeah.
So it really highlights that inconsistency. That's the worry.
Yeah, that's the gamble, isn't it? Those flashes of brilliance versus moments that just make you scratch your head. High ceiling, low floor potential.
Exactly. That seems to be the profile. So the big question for a team like Pittsburgh is, can you live with that volatility while he develops?
Right. What else did the scouting report mention? Strengths, weaknesses?
Well, overall, the analyst felt his general decision-making is actually good most of the time. Good accuracy, too.
Okay.
And he's athletic. Not like a Lamar Jackson or Jaden Daniels primary runner, but he can move.
Gotcha. More pocket passer who can scramble.
Yeah. And the Ole Miss offense apparently involved a lot of high-risk, high-reward throws, not much dink and dunk manufactured offense. They pushed it downfield.
Interesting. That might explain some of the interception numbers, maybe. Taking more chances.
Could be.
Yeah.
Statistically, though, he improved each year at Ole Miss after transferring from USC. Completion percentage went up, touchdowns went up.
Okay, so there's a positive trajectory there. Where did the analyst actually rank him, like on his personal board?
He said around 16th or 17th overall.
So higher than pick 21, where the mocks had him going to Pittsburgh.
Yeah. And he even threw out a gut feel prediction. Maybe the Saints take him at number 9.
Wow, number 9. Okay.
But here's the crucial point he made about the Steelers specifically.
Yeah.
Drafting Dart without getting a veteran like Rodgers first. He said that's basically replaying what they already did with Kenny Pickett.
Ooh, yeah. That hits home for Steelers fans, I bet. Just drafting another young guy and hoping he figures it out on his own.
Exactly. So the ideal scenario presented was Rodgers starting, Dart learning behind him. That's the path they seem to advocate for.
Makes sense. A clear fork in the road for their QB strategy. It's fascinating.
It really is. Now, they also briefly mentioned another QB generating buzz, Shedeur Sanders. Just a quick mention, though.
Oh, yeah. Coach Prem's son. What was the take?
Just describe him as potentially the most interesting, fascinating prospect in the whole draft.
Right.
It wasn't really a deep dive on him, more like a hypothetical, what if he fell to the Steelers kind of thing.
Right. He's definitely intriguing. A lot of eyes on him for next year's draft, assuming he comes out.
Definitely want to watch.
I say.
Okay, let's switch gears, head down to Dallas, talk Cowboys.
All right. Cowboys.
Yeah.
The video looked at a mock draft scenario, them taking a wide receiver at pick 12. Ted McMillan.
Ted McMillan.
Yeah.
Big receiver out of Arizona, I think.
Yep, Arizona. Big dude. 6'4" minnows, around 219 pounds. Ran his 40 in the mid 4.5s.
So not a speed burner, but big.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Good size, not elite speed. And the rationale for the pick. Dallas needs another threat besides CeeDee Lamb, someone defenses have to respect.
Yeah, beyond Lamb, it feels a bit underwhelming sometimes. No offense to the other guys.
Right. The analysis suggests that the current group isn't really imposing. They need someone to instill some fear.
So what makes McMillan the guy? What are his standout traits according to the video?
Okay, key strengths. Outstanding catch radius. Uses that big frame. Also, surprisingly good route running for his size.
Really? That's often a knock on bigger receivers.
Yeah, but the analyst highlighted his route running. And his verticality mentioned a volleyball background helps him go up and get it.
Ah, interesting connection.
They think he can really feast in the intermediate passing game, be that reliable chain mover, contested catch guy.
Okay, I can see the appeal. A compliment to Lamb's skill set.
Definitely. They even threw out a comparison, like a combo of CeeDee Lamb and Drake London in terms of ball skills and versatility.
Tough praise.
It is. And it fills that need for a big framed receiver they haven't consistently had since maybe Michael Gallup before the injuries piled up.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah.
So while Pittsburgh's figuring out the QB future, Dallas is maybe looking to load up weapons for Dak now.
Seems like it.
Yeah.
But there's also the defensive side for Dallas, right? The video touched on that too.
Oh, yeah. What was the counterpoint?
Well, cornerback could be a pretty big need. Trayvon Diggs coming off that major injury, maybe a delayed start. Jordan Lewis left. There are holes.
True. That secondary looks a bit thin.
And they mentioned Will Johnson, the cornerback from Michigan, often mocked just a few picks later, so he could be right there at 12.
So it's potentially receiver versus corner at pick 12.
Potentially. But then they brought up the Matt Eberflus factor.
Yeah.
The new DC.
Right, from Chicago. What's his scheme like?
Leans heavily on zone coverage, relies a lot on the pass rush to disrupt things.
Okay, so the thinking is, if the pass rush is good enough, maybe the immediate need for a top-tier lockdown corner is slightly less urgent. You can get by with solid zone guys.
Interesting angle. Less pressure on the individual corners if the QB doesn't have time.
Exactly. The video even mentioned a player named Kem, who they apparently traded for later in this mock draft scenario.
Yeah.
Specifically fits that zone scheme.
Oh, okay. So they address corner later. Yeah. And the analyst's final take was, if Dallas does go with McMillan at 12, adding that offensive weapon, it could make them sneakily better than people expect.
Huh. Giving Dak another legit target, I can see that, makes that offense even harder to stop.
For sure.
Okay, so just to kind of recap everything we pull from this analysis for you. Steelers' ideal world, Rodgers and Dart. But just Dart, maybe risky, like Pickett 2.0.
Right.
Cowboys. McMillan offers that big-bodied receiving threat to complement Lamb. But they got to weigh that against maybe needing a corner early, though Eberflus's scheme might lessen that immediate pressure.
Yeah, lots of moving parts, different team-building philosophies potentially playing out. It's why the draft is so fascinating.
It really is. You get these glimpses into how teams view their needs and the available talent.
Absolutely. Different path to hopefully the same goal, winning.
Okay, so considering everything we've just unpacked for you, the whole Rodgers veteran presence versus Dart's high upside but risky profile, what kind of quarterback do you think really sets the Steelers up best for the long haul? Is it stability now or betting on development? And then how does that whole quarterback dilemma compare to Dallas needing that immediate impact receiver like McMillan to pair with a star like CeeDee Lamb?
It's that classic tension, isn't it? Immediate need versus a long-term foundational piece.
It really is. Building for now versus building for 5 years from now, always tough decisions for these GMs. Makes you think about balancing those priorities.
Definitely something to chew on. Thanks for taking this deep dive with us.